Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. And welcome to the final week of the 2024-25 NFL season. That's right, Week 18 is upon us. A lot of meaningless games this week, but there's also still a few positions to be ironed out. We still have a couple divisions to still clarify. We still have a number one seed in the NFC to clarify. Positions that still have to go in there. AFC, you still have that last playoff spot still up in the air, and how teams are kind of frack and stack accordingly. So you have this aspect going forward. And if you're just listening to this, Happy New Year. We're now in 2025. But looking back at last week, I ended up doing extremely well. I went back on my winning ways. Actually, I think I had one of my best weeks of the season as well. 13-3. I called for the Bills to get upset by the Jets. I didn't think Josh Allen was going to play. He ended up playing and just dismantled the Jets out there in Buffalo. Richardson not playing for the Colts led to the G-Men winning. A rare game. And with Jacksonville, Tennessee, I think it was just a coin toss. Because I went with Tennessee and Jacksonville decided to play. So, those are my three losses. I'm not going to harp on the other games because a lot of them were pretty good. I mean, Detroit-San Francisco was a nice game on Monday night where Detroit went out, and a lot of people were trying to figure out why they were playing that hard. Well, they still have a division to win. They still have a number one seed to try to capture. And looking over the quick aspects of playoff seeding in the AFC, Kansas City's number one team. Mahomes already been they've been stated Mahomes will be sitting out this week against Denver. So give him 2 whole weeks to recuperate his ankle, which I think is a good thing. Buffalo's locked in that number 2 slot, so I don't think Josh Allen should be playing. Baltimore still trying to battle for that division. As long as they win, they get the division and the number 3 seed no matter what. Houston's locked at number 4. Pittsburgh hoping for a Baltimore loss and them winning for them to get in, but Cincinnati's also trying to get in. So there's a few different areas playing in that game. But they've already clinched a position. It's just where they fall. Kind of depends where it lands up. So anywhere. Chargers are already in. They're pretty much at 6 unless Pittsburgh loses and they win. They can move up. So that last spot between Denver, Miami, and Cincinnati, Denver needs to win to stay in, to get in. But for Miami to get in, Denver has to lose. They have to win. And for Cincinnati to get in, they have to win. Denver and Miami both have to lose. So a lot of things have to go into place. So we'll kind of see what transpires after this weekend. We'll probably see a lot of things clear up on Saturday. On the NFC side, Philly and the Rams are locked in their position at 2 and 3, respectively. 1 and 5 is between Detroit and Minnesota. Their game on Sunday night will determine who wins the NFC North and gets the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs and who's going to be on the road. For the NFC South, you still have Tampa Bay and Atlanta battling. If Atlanta wins, Tampa Bay loses. Atlanta gets that 4th slot and hosting the NFC North runner-up. Otherwise, if Tampa Bay wins, they get the home date with a 14-3 team coming in. Washington's already clinched. Green Bay's in. If Washington wins, they stay at 6. But if they win and if they lose and Green Bay wins, Green Bay moves to 6. So jockeying positions there. So there's a few scenarios still how to play out. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive into the AFC North Saturday. The 2 Saturday games will feature both AFC North teams. Determine a division and see if one has a chance to get in. First on the docket, we head to Baltimore, where the Browns will come in and take on the Ravens. So the Ravens are looking to clinch that division, lock up the number 3 seed. It's going to be a rough day for Cleveland. Cleveland right now has a mashing of quarterbacks right now, trying to see who's going to step up and play. Baltimore still going to look to really fine-tune things. So I think they get far enough ahead. You probably see Jackson and Henry start to sit to put the other guys in to get them some playing time and save their stars. Right now, there's too many injuries in Cleveland, too many question marks. Baltimore's well poised. I have a feeling that after the first half, both Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson will be sitting that second half to allow other guys to step up and participate, get some reps in, save their stars. Because right now, analytically, it's 90%, and they have a 18.5 point spread. I think this is going to be an ugly game. I do think Baltimore is just going to walk away with this with a nice victory and clinch the AFC North. Now we're headed to the Steel City, where the Cincinnati Bengals will come to town, take on the Steelers, and Cincinnati needs to win this game to stay alive. Pittsburgh's probably going to be playing this game, try to maintain their position, but I don't know. Pittsburgh's looking kind of iffy, and the way they played against Kansas City last week kind of shows they may not be ready. But Russ will have them in a good position if Joe Burrow stays, healthy enough. He's questionable, but more likely I think he will be playing this week. He's going to lay it all on the line. I mean, this guy has put MVP-style stats. He's acting like an MVP. He probably won't get it, but he should at least have his name mentioned. Should be that top 5 position people for that MVP talk this season. And just the way that he's carried himself, he's tried to carry his team without so much fanfare, trying to do what he can. I mean, he's only had 8 interceptions, but he's been hit a lot, and he has 42 touchdowns. And Joe Cool is just being cool about it. He's getting the ball out to his T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, a couple of guys there. So we've got to see where this team will kind of go forward. Can they work around the Pittsburgh defense? They always play well against Pittsburgh. That's just been their type of thing. Right now, analytically, Pittsburgh has a 53%. Point spread goes to Cincinnati 2.5. I think this lets you know how evenly balanced these two teams are in terms of defenses and offenses. Cincinnati's defense is a huge question mark, but can they get in there and disrupt Russell Wilson, which would disrupt his timing? Can Najee Harris be a factor in this game? It's going to be another huge indicator for the Steelers. I myself like Cincinnati because they're coming in there with something to prove. They're trying to get in the playoffs. The only way to do that is to go through Pittsburgh and beat them. So this is pretty much their playoff. They have to win for a chance to get in. And with that being said, I do think Cincinnati will find ways to elevate themselves and get to the next stage. On Sunday, we got the Falcons hosting Carolina in a NFC South bash. Atlanta needs to win this game to remain in the hunt for the divisional title and a possible playoff berth. And you'll have Bryce Young taking on Penix Jr. And Penix Jr. actually had a decent game last week in Washington. He started to come back towards the end, getting past that defense. So there's talent there that could leave Atlanta's bright future heading forward. Maybe they should put him in sooner this year. Who knows? Bryce Young has been up and down the season. After getting benched, recollecting himself, getting back in there, you start seeing a new aspect for the Carolina Panthers. They had a great stretch of games where they were competitive, didn't quite win, but I do feel they're going to be up there. The rushing attack is going to hurt them because Hubbard being gone really eliminates that threat they have too many weapons that Atlanta offense has is going to hamper Carolina's response, but Carolina's going to make a game of this. I really do think so, because Atlanta is favored, or analytically, they're ahead at 73%. They're also favored by 8. I would take Carolina for the points, because I do think Carolina's going to make this a game, just because it's just a divisional game. I think that it's going to happen. But I will give it to the Falcons to beat the Panthers, to continue to try to stay pace with the Buccaneers for that NFC South. Now we have to Arlington, where the Cowboys play host to the Commanders. Cowboys have nothing to play for. I don't know. They won't keep Cooper Rush. There we go. In a quarterback, or maybe try give Trey Lance a shot. CD Lamb's been shut down for the season, which is a great move for him. Don't want to risk any further injuries to him. The Cowboys defense is definitely starting to come back up. Now the injuries are starting to trailer off. But I think it's a little too late. So the defense for the Cowboys is going to give Daniels issues. I mean, there's going to be no question about that one. Jan Daniels is going to have to find ways to try to trick the Cowboys defense with his scrambles, and then maybe do some play actions, then get after Scary Terry. It's going to be a very, very close matchup. Right now, analytically, Washington's up at 65%. They're only favored by 3.5 points. I do think that's going to be the case. I think this is going to be them playing because jockeying for position. Them and Green Bay kind of figure out where they're going to rack and stack. They have the tiebreaker over Green Bay, so they get the 6th seed and they get in. I think that's where they're going to try to get themselves in there, or maybe they lose that, get Philadelphia, a team they have already beaten this year. So I went back and forth on this pick. I almost went with Dallas, just because I didn't think that there's much for Washington to play for. It all depends on how they want to seed themselves, and I think they'll go out there and try to play. Take it to Dallas, because why not? It's their arch rival, so that's the whole point. And I'm going to Washington to win in Jerry's world. Then we have to Lambeau Field, where the Bears come to town, and the Bears have nothing to go for. They have just been a huge disappointment. They had this great optimism. I fell for it too. Last week was atrocious. They could not get anything going. I mean, it was a baseball score between the Mariners and the Cubs. I mean, that's how that game turned out to be. And you might go Mariners, White Sox, and maybe keep on the AL side. But a 6-3 affair last week. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't muster anything offensively. That O-line is garbage. Williams doesn't have any time for him to do anything. You can tell by the sideline, he's not enjoying himself at all. Ever since they let Eberflus go, the team got worse, not better. So it definitely a huge factor in this game. Once again, Green Bay jockeying for a position, plus a chance to sweep the Bears again. 75% analytically. They're favored by 10. I don't see nothing else. That's going to be Green Bay all day long. Now to Music City, where the Texans will come to town, take on the Titans. And with this one, Houston has nothing to play for. They got their position locked. They're not going to falter anywhere. They're the 4th seed. They're going to get a home game. More likely, they'll probably get Pittsburgh in. So why not rest your starters? Why risk C.J. Stroud getting hurt? Why risk Mixon getting hurt, getting knocked out? Nico Collins, I mean, those two are coming off injuries. Go ahead, bench them. Just bench them. There's too many things riding on the Houston if they want to make a nice run in the playoffs to do that. I mean, they play against 2 other playoff teams and lost. And they can 21 points in 2 games. That's all they can muster. and their defense allowed 58 points. So they need to do something fast. Going after Tennessee might be a good thing. Tennessee's trying to stop their losing streak. Maybe not. Maybe they try to tank as well, try to get that higher draft position. Who knows? But right now, analytically, it's somewhat even, 52-48 in favor of Houston, and Tennessee has a 2.5 points advantage. Analytically, yes, Houston is the better team, but they're starting benching their starters, which they should. I'll give it to Tennessee just because it's just nothing's just how it's going to be, but I will give it to the Titans to win their finale. We have to Indianapolis, where the two teams that had, I think, higher expectations of the season. I definitely had higher expectations of these two teams. I had higher expectations of Jacksonville. And things are just kind of fell apart between these two towards the end of the season. Richardson right now is questionable. I'll just leave him on the bench if I was them. Just don't even worry about it. Just it's all right. We'll go after it next year. But that's just me. Indianapolis, 59% analytically favored. They also have a 4.5 point spread advantage. And I'm going to buck the trend. I'm going Jacksonville. I'm just going to take the Jags in this. It just, like I said, these two teams have nothing to play for. And if the Colts are benching Richardson, which I think they should, I haven't heard anything if they would or not, but I think Jacksonville is just going to go out there and play just a little bit better, just because. Then we head to Foxborough, where the Bills come into town to take on the Patriots. The Bills have absolutely nothing to play for. There's no chance for them getting the number 1 seed. They're not faltering from the second position at all. It's all theirs. I would keep Josh Allen on the bench just to ice him, to avoid risking anything else. Just let New England go out there. New England's been one of these weird teams that's every so often they show up, and then other time frames they just kind of have a lame duck. They showed up last week against the Chargers, and I think if Drake May shows up and is able to play, even Coach Mayo's even said if he's healthy, he's going to start. So I think they're looking at it that way. Give him as much experience as possible. But I don't think there's going to be much Buffalo action, even though analytically they're favored 78%. They also have the 2-point advantage in the spread. I just don't think Josh Allen's going to play the entire game if he plays at all. I would want him to sit and go, no, you are sitting. There's no need for you to put yourself out there. But as Josh Allen talked about, he's going to find his way to get on the field. I know, but I have a feeling they're going to pull the plug. They'll have a short leash on him and just pull it. But I'll give it to the Patriots to knock off the Bills just because of the stars will probably get him sitting for Buffalo just to rest him for week 1 of the playoffs. Then we over to Philadelphia. And this is going to be an interesting take. Saquon Barkley was just within like 120 yards of setting the all-time rushing mark. And Saquon has actually stated that it'll be nice to break it, but I'm not here for that. He's here for the team. He's like, wherever the coach wants, I'll do. If he wants me to play, I'll play. If he wants me to sit, I'll sit. And we've seen that from him throughout the season where Coach Sirianni kind of went to him and was like, hey, I want to bench you, but you want to go back out there and hit something. He's like, no, let the other guys eat. Saquon is showing how he should be also in the MVP category race as well, because he's putting his team ahead of his own personal goals, and that's something you don't see a lot with certain players. Would I love to see him achieve this mark against his former team, kind of go, I told you so. It would be great, but I don't think that's going to happen. It sounds like Philadelphia will be benching their guys in this game. I mean, right now, Jalen Hurts is already questionable because he's still in concussion protocol. Sit him down. Kenny Pickett's now kind of hurt as well, so he's questionable. Yeah, I think putting your guys on ice for this week to give them the rest that they need, I think is going to be advantageous for them. Analytically, Philly's favored by 83%. They also have a 3.5-point spread. It's the G-Men. The G-Men play them tough anyways. I think they will play them tough. It's just going to really determine who is going to have a better outing. But if Saquon's out, Hurst is out, I think it's going to be the Giants winning in Philly. We head to Tampa Bay, where the Buccaneers play host to the Saints, and the fate of the NFC South will be resting on Baker Mayfield's shoulders. And with injuries playing up on the Saints, and they have Rattlers, their starter, who's not. It seems to be the best pro quarterback right now. Maybe it's just a bad situation for him. The Baker's going to go out there. He's going to perform as he always does. I think it's just going to be what they did against Carolina, what they did against the Chargers, where they're just going to come out and just ball, and that's what they're going to do. Right now, analytically, Tampa Bay, 80%. They also have a 14-point spread advantage. I'm not going to buck against that either. I think the Saints' defense is kind of falling apart a bit, and I think the Saints are just in a rebuild. But, yeah, I'll take Tampa Bay winning this one, winning the South once again, and heading into the playoffs. And up to Mile High City, and they've already stated that Mahomes is out. He's sitting down. I think they also have Kelsey out. So they're going to take their stars out of the game, which kind of gives it all to Denver to win. And it's Denver needs to win this to get in. Would Kansas City love to keep Denver out? I'm sure they would. But I think having a little extra time off for some of their players is a good thing, especially Patrick Mahomes. He's been getting beat up quite a bit. So give him 2 weeks to kind of rest and get ready for in divisionals. I think probably is the best option for them. Right now, analytically, Denver is ahead at 52%, excuse me. And they also have an 8-point spread advantage. I think it might be more. I think Denver, if Kansas City is benching their starters, Denver is going to put up a lot of points. But I'll give it to Denver as well. Then we head over to Las Vegas for the Raiders, playing host to Los Angeles Superchargers. And that's not the same range as San Diego Superchargers. But anyways, once again, it's just a positioning factor to find out, how they're going to rack and stack. Especially if Pittsburgh loses, then the Chargers can win this game and get to the 5th seed. That would have a date with Houston. But if they lose, they'll probably have them going to Baltimore. So it's going to be a positional base how this one goes. And right now, analytically, the Chargers are 56%. They have a 4.5-point spread. I don't see much resistance coming from Las Vegas in this game. I mean, even though they've had one the past 2 weeks, and they've had pretty good showings, so it looks like things are starting to somewhat turn around in Vegas at a little late. But sometimes it's a good thing because then you can build upon it, especially having the end of the year and trying to get find what worked there and apply it for next season. But I do think that the Chargers will be a little too much, and they'll end up leaving Vegas and gain their 11th victory. Then we head over to SoFi, where the Rams will play host to the Seahawks. And the Rams have nothing to play for. They've already clinched their position. Nothing's going to change. They got the division. So I can foresee Stafford getting benched, by Nakua and Cup, just to preserve those three guys for the playoffs, and just let the other guys kind of get up there and do their thing. I mean, offensively, they haven't been the best in the past 3 weeks for the Rams. They've yet to crack 20 points in the last 3 weeks. So giving those guys some rest to kind of hone in some of their skills will probably be the best option. Seattle hasn't looked good either the past 3 weeks. So it's going to be one of those weird games. Right now, the Rams have a 56% advantage in analytics. They also have a 2.5-point spread advantage. But we'll take Seattle to win because they have no shot of doing anything, and the Rams are already in. So why not just play and sit? They have the Dolphins send them to New York to take on the Jets, and Tua looks like he's going to be out. And the way the Jets played the Dolphins last time down in Miami, it's going to be a lot closer. Miami needs to win this game and Denver to lose for them to get in right now. So they're going to be trying their best to do that, but I don't think they'll have too much success right now. Analytically, they're a favorite at 54%. They have a 2.5-point spread advantage. And the Jets just looked really bad this past 2 weeks. I'm taking the Jets to shock the Dolphins to win their final game of the season. Then we have to Glendale, Arizona, where the Cardinals will play host to the 49ers. Neither team have anything to play for. The 49ers have been kind of banged up most of the season. Cardinals have their issues as well. It's a coin flip. I mean, they both have lost multiple games in a row towards the end of the season. Analytically, San Francisco at 56%. They have a 1-point spread advantage. I'm taking the Cardinals just because they're home. I think this game just probably half empty stadium out there in State Farm, but I don't think much is going to really factor in this one. I think the 49ers probably be up early, and then the Cardinals will come back to win. I think it's probably how it's going to go play. And then Sunday night, they say one of the best games for the last game of the season. It is for the NFC North and the top seed in the NFC playoffs. Showdown in the Motor City between Minnesota and Detroit to see who's going to be the kings of the North, and this is going to be an epic showdown. Darnold and Goff have had spectacular seasons this year. NFPS numbers all around. I mean, Darnold probably out of the race because he's had more interceptions, but the way he has stepped in this game, a cast-off, a write-off, a quote-unquote bust to come in here and just thrive in the system. Of course, having Jefferson as your primary target receiver, Aaron Jones coming in here, going in there and setting the ground attack really helps. Same thing with Detroit. Goff had those years of the Rams, took them to the Super Bowl, losing that. Only to get traded for Stafford, who spent his almost entire career in Detroit. Finally reaching the Super Bowl. Now Goff has a chance with this team. Anyway, this team is stacked. Offensively, it's really good. It's the defense that's going to be the Achilles heel for Detroit. They almost have an entire starting lineup on the bench because they're injured for defensive players. It is. I mean, they're just missing one defensive back. They'll have an entire defensive unit injured. So this is definitely going to be a fun game to watch. Watch these two go at it. They're going to exchange points left, right, and center. I think defenses need not apply. This is going to be the way to end the season with an offensive showdown between these two. Analytically, Detroit, 65%. Detroit, favored by 3. I have a feeling it might be closer than that one. I think it'd be now to a 2-point. But I like it as well. I am taking Detroit to win at home, clinch the division, clinch the number 1 seed, we'll see what happens from there. There you go. Those are my picks. Didn't go on an edge on too much of these. Some of these games are just kind of a washout, so it doesn't really matter what happens. I'll probably end up going like 9-7 or 8-8 this week, just because of trying to figure out which team's going to bench who and for the playoffs and whatnot. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Give us civilized and boost algorithm up, the almighty YouTube algorithm that dictates our lives to try to feed us nonsensical nonsense like my conversations to you about football. Another thing you do is hit that thumbs up. It really helps to support this channel. Another thing that immensely supports me and the rest in the future of this channel is subscriptions. And it'll cost you a low cost of $0 to subscribe. All you need to do is hit that subscribe button, click that bell icon, turn on notifications so next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.